Very good morning this morning to Jenny Critchlow, teacher and motivational speaker. Morning to you, Jenny.
Morning, Phil. How are you?
Very good. Here to have a look through the newspapers. And I see on your social media you were doing a bit of meditation up the road in Solihull at the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, I do. Thanks for that, Phil. I run a project called Sit With Me, and it's completely free.
Right.
Sitting in the middle of Touchwood shopping centre. It takes a lot of guts.
Right.
And
I saw that. See, I saw the images that you posted up on your social media, and I think, I wish I'd known about that. I'd have done that. I'd have gone and so it's good. You're outside. Apart from anything, you're outside the Superdry store. I'm dressed head to toe in Superdry.
There you go. You can do your shopping as well.
Middle-aged man at Superdry. So there we are. And you set up a load of chairs, didn't you?
Yep.
Basically in the middle of the walkway through the middle of the Touchwood shopping centre in Solihull, and people could just have 5 minutes out.
5 minutes out, completely free meditation lessons, and it's regular. The next one's on the 20th of March. It's called Sit With Me. So yeah, you can find out about that. Just I think it's sitwithme.info. And yeah, Touchwood have been amazing about it. It's really spreading the love.
Good stuff. Love it. Talking of spreading, coronavirus is doing very much that, isn't it? It's in all the newspapers this morning.
It is, and it's in the Nuneaton Telegraph. Obviously, we should probably touch on this. But really what I wanted to look on about with the coronavirus is the notion of fear, and how we can really tap into that, and then we can make panic decisions and a lot of worry around something that is worrying us, when actually if we can just take a little breath and a little pause, we can then make really sensible decisions about what we might be doing about maybe the coronavirus or anything else.
Decisions you make in panic don't tend to be good decisions, do they?
You tend to make wiser decisions when you've had a breath and you're not panicking. I'm not saying that if an alligator wasn't chasing you, you should stop and take a breath and look at the nature of alligator. But it was things like the coronavirus. We do like a bit of drama, we do. And we do like it when there's a little bit of thing to entertain ourselves like that.
Fear breeds fear, doesn't it? If you see everybody else stocking up on tin food and toilet rolls, then you think, all right, well, I'm missing a trick here. I've got to get in on this, don't I? So,
well, we like to be part of the tribe.
Yeah,
you know, we find our tribe friends are people who agree with us. You know, we like to be part of everything, don't want to miss out. So yeah, deep breath and really what's real in front of you.
Good stuff. Good advice. Maybe something you can apply today if you are headed off out to the shops. We'll get your questions answered on the coronavirus, of course, this morning. Dr. Morag Jarvis, who's Coventry GP, going to be live with us after 8 o'clock this morning. You've got concerns, you've got worries. Appreciate you will have. We now have the first case at UHCW, 6 in total across Coventry and Warwickshire. Your questions answered, concerns addressed after 8 this morning at BBC CWR. Story in The Guardian here that's got your attention. What's this all about?
This is in G2 and it's right up my street.
Right.
It's called The One Change That Worked, How I Stopped Sharing My Single Tales. And it's a piece written by a woman who became conscious of the fact that her narrative, the thing she talked about all the time, was her disastrous dating life, and that's what she talked about with her friends, and that's who she was. And when she really looked at it, she realised that this was really all she talked about. And one of the things I talk about a lot is that we all have an internal narrative and an internal story. And that story tends to be something that goes on and on and on. And we tell it because, one, it hasn't occurred to us that this isn't the only thing in our lives that's going on. But secondly, humans drop things very quickly that they don't get anything from.
Right.
And so we get something from whatever story we're telling, even if it's a very negative or victim story. And when we look at dropping it, we actually have a space that we fear to fill. And what this woman found, that when she stopped entertaining her friends with her disastrous date stories, it made space for all these other noticings to come in, her nephews, or what was going well in her life, and maybe even allowing a good date story to come in. It's simply coming to consciousness about the stories we tell ourselves.
Quite often, it'll be the negative stories that get you attention.
Yeah, we like
so,
that.
So you will, in her case, her negative dating stories will have all of her friends go, no, what, really, what happened? And, oh, hang on a minute, I get, maybe even subconsciously you understand, if I tell these stories, more and more people are interested in what I've got to say.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, all they're hearing from you are negative stories, aren't they? When actually, if you drop that, there are some other positive things you should be saying about yourself and sort of, just trying to talk well of yourself all the time.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that the negative stuff gets us something. It gets us attention.
Yeah.
And so one of my questions always is, if you drop this story, what do you lose? And then we look at our ability to lose that, because yes, quite often is that we get attention. We all do, because humans are inherently kind, and we want to give people attention who are having a difficult time. But we then have to perpetuate that story in difficult time to keep getting the same levels of attention. So we just come into consciousness of our story and seeing whether we can fill our internal life with more positive stuff.
Stuff. Okay, and quickly, a little story we covered here on the programme last week on the Cov Tell. It was last weekend, in fact, that the Sea Scouts saw their brand new building, St Nicholas Park in Warwick. Police are now treating it very much as an arson attack. That hut, which had taken them 5 years to build, hadn't even been completed, destroyed in an arson attack. You've seen this in the Cov Tell as well today.
This is in the Cov Tell. Sea Scouts group vowed to rebuild after devastating fire. What I loved about this story was that this group had fundraised for years, and they'd put their hearts and souls into building something for the Sea Scouts. And the quote is, at Scouts, we teach our youngsters about perseverance, determination and resilience, and to see things through. And my point in all of this is that our job as adults is to show children how adults do it, how a grown-up behaves. Yeah. So we don't behave like babies. We don't stamp and scream. We literally give them tools. We don't panic buy. No, that might be coming next. What we do is we give children tools in their toolbox for their adult lives. And so in this great devastation and this great disappointment, you have got adult human beings behaving beautifully. And those Sea Scouts may well learn way more through this disaster, if we want to call it a disaster, than ever they could have learned just from having their scout hut. You know, hats off to the adults in this.
How to turn adversity into triumph, maybe.
Absolutely.
Hope they get that restored and hope they get that back on their feet again. Jenny, good to meet you this morning. Thanks for coming in. What's your plan for the rest of the day today?
I'm going to go to Step.
Are you?
I'm going to go to the gym.
Okay.
And then I'm going to work.
Okay. No supermarket panic buying. Glad to hear.
No, promise you.
Good stuff. Jenny, appreciate it. Thanks very much indeed. And you want to find out a bit more about her Sit With Me project. You got your own YouTube channel. That's kind of
I have a weekly podcast as well. Thanks, Phil.
Right.
Why Now? You can get that on iTunes.
Have a look at that. Jenny Critchler, appreciate your time. Thanks very much indeed. 7:45. Monday mornings.